Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates a 32nd International Conference of Agricultural Economists. Says India, a food surplus country, working to provide solutions for global food security. Vice President Kamala Harris formally secures Democratic presidential nomination for upcoming US election 2024. United States, to boost its military presence in West Asia, will deploy additional jets and Navy warships after threats from Iran and its allies Hamas and Hezbollah. At least 32 killed and 63 injured in Somalia beach attack. No immediate claim of responsibility by Islamist terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Indian shooter Manu Bhaker misses out on a historic third medal at Paris Olympics, finishes fourth in 25-meter pistol final. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised India's food security system during his address at 32nd edition of International Conference of Agricultural Economists in New Delhi on Saturday. Exploring the issues and solutions in the domain of sustainable agri-systems, the conference aimed at tackling the pressing need for sustainable agriculture in the face of global challenges such as climate change.
आज भारत एक फूड सरप्लस देश है। आज भारत दूध, दाल और मसालों का सबसे बड़ा प्रोड्यूसर है। भारत फूड ग्रेन, फ्रूट्स, वेजिटेबल, कॉटन, शुगर, टी, फ्रेम्ड फिश, इनका दूसरा सबसे बड़ा प्रोड्यूसर है। एक वो समय था जब भारत की फूड सिक्योरिटी दुनिया की चिंता का विषय था। एक आज का समय है जब भारत ग्लोबल फूड सिक्योरिटी, ग्लोबल न्यूट्रिशन सिक्योरिटी, इसके सॉल्यूशन देने में जुटा है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also reiterated that the Indian government is working towards developing a complete ecosystem to support our farmers.
इस साल के बजट में भी बहुत बड़ा फोकस सस्टेनेबल फार्मिंग और क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट फार्मिंग पर है। हम अपने किसानों को सपोर्ट करने के लिए एक पूरा इकोसिस्टम डेवलप कर रहे हैं। भारत का बहुत जोर क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट क्रॉप से जुड़ी रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट पर है। बीते 10 सालों में हमने करीब 1900 नई क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट वैरायटी अपने किसानों को दी है। इसका लाभ भारत के किसानों को भी मिल रहा है।
And DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh joins us to give more information on this. Hello, Shubhendu. During his address at 32nd edition of International Conference of Agricultural Economists in New Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi praised India's food security system, which goes on to show the rapid pace, with which India is excelling in agriculture sector. What more information are you getting for us from the event?
Absolutely, Siddharth. The manner in which Prime Minister made a passionate appeal to all the experts in the food and agriculture sector who had all assembled in New Delhi. And Prime Minister speaks about the manner in which India has come a long way from being a food deficit to a food surplus country.
Yeah.
He particularly highlighted the manner in which in millets, in dairy, in pulses, India is one of the leading producers in the world. In rice and other grains, it's not far behind. In fishery and poultry, also India is ahead. In that sense, India is seen as a agriculture powerhouse in the world
Definitely.
today. And in millets in particular, Prime Minister mentioned that this particular grain, with the manner in which it is sustainable, in the manner in which it grows with limited water usage, it could also hold the key for sustainable agriculture for the global community, and India
Definitely.
could play a key role given that it is the largest producer of millets in the world.
Definitely. Shubhendu, when it comes to giving overall assistance to our farmers, Prime Minister Modi also reiterated that the Indian government is working towards developing a complete ecosystem to support them. Now, how's it being done, Shubhendu?
That's right, Siddharth. We cannot imagine sustainable agriculture without empowered farmers.
Definitely.
And farmers and their welfare has been a key priority for the Modi government, whether we talk about soil health cards, whether we talk about bringing in technology into the farmland in the form of AI, Internet of Things, use of drones in the manner in which Prime Minister explained it is being used. Digital public infrastructure is also being actively introduced in the farm sector. For example, the Kisan Samman Nidhi, the money that goes from the government to the beneficiary farmers directly into their accounts using digital mediums. Those are means through which India has put across very successful models in which farmers can be empowered. There are also challenges that Prime Minister mentioned, that most of the farmers in India, 90% of them, are small-scale farmers, which means that they have farmland of less than 2 hectares. But India is also working to innovate in that domain, to bring in changes in the policy so that small-scale farmers, the manner in which they can come together and make the best use of their resources and take India to greater height as far as food productivity and global food security is concerned.
All right, thank you so much for that analysis, Shubhendu. As rescue operations in Wayanad near completion, 215 bodies have been recovered so far, while 206 people remain missing. Identifying bodies from the Chalaya River in Nelambur continues to be challenging, with 67 unidentified bodies found to date. These bodies are being buried by local panchayats with appropriate religious rites. In Wayanad, 10,042 people are currently housed in 93 relief camps. Search efforts involve 1,419 personnel from the Fire Force, NDRF, Forest Department, Police, Indian Army and Tamil Nadu volunteers, along with K9 squads and the Tamil Nadu medical team. Advanced equipment including human rescue radar and drone-based radar is being used, and additional earth-moving machinery is being deployed to sift through the debris. All right, and DD correspondent Suneet Sukumaran joins us from South India's Wayanad. Suneet, indeed, it's very tragic. Official death toll touches 215. How are the rescue operations going on? And what are you getting us from the ground zero?
Siddharth, today's rescue operation is about to end because the weather is not so favorable for the rescue operation because it is getting darker, and also there is a chance for heavy to heavy rain in this area, and still it's a landslide prone area, so definitely they are about to wind up this today's this search and rescue operation. Meantime, they are divided into 6 groups and divided into 40 groups and searching 6 different zones. Behind me you can see Churalmala town, one of the most beautiful location in Wayanad. Once it was a very famous tourist destination. Now it's more like a big football ground. This place was surrounded by a lot of tea plantation meadows and all, one of the beautiful place. But now after this landslide, this place is completely devastated, and most of the people who are staying here are no more. That is what you see is like everything you see here is heart-wrenching scenes and visuals.
Suneet, can you just request your camera person to zoom towards what is happening behind you, because I can see people, they are queued up and some operations are also going on. I was there during the elections and I know how beautiful Wayanad is, but the scenario has completely changed now. Suneet, can you just request your camera person and tell us what exactly is happening behind you?
Yes, of course. You can see the Bailey Bridge that behind me that was constructed by the army personnel few days ago, that really made the access from that area to this area, because after that there was a small bridge, and after that landslide, this entire area, like, it became completely isolated because there was no connection in between. So in the first few days, the rescue operation was not in full swing just because of this access problem. But after the army built this Bailey Bridge, the access between these two places became so easy. And behind that, you can see a big tree, and that tree is, that tree stays in a place where once it was a temple complex. You can see, but earlier there were around 4 or 5 temples, but now you can see only the floor and debris, and now it's being used as a landing area for the choppers. And more than 65 JCBs and Hitachis are here, continuously searching for the dead bodies and the remains of these human parts and all. And in every hour they are recovering more and more bodies, but the hardest part is to identify these bodies, because most of these bodies are being found in a very crushed state, without without proper identification mark
Sunit,
or anything. So that is one of the main challenge everybody is facing right now.
Okay, Sunit, you are at ground zero. Could you just tell us how are people managing their day-to-day lives there after this devastating incident? Sunit, can you hear me? Sunit, if you can hear me, can you... Okay, I think there's a problem. We are trying to reconnect with our correspondent, Sunit Sukumaran, who's at ground zero. Meanwhile, amid the challenges, the Indian Navy continues its rescue and relief operations in the landslide-affected areas of Wayanad district. To bolster these efforts, additional personnel, supplies and resources have been mobilized from INS Zamorin Azimala. Currently, 78 naval personnel are engaged in the ongoing rescue operations. A medical post has been established at Churalmala to provide assistance to the injured. On Friday, in fact, an Indian Navy advanced light helicopter from INS Garud airlifted 12 state police personnel and rescue equipment to areas that were inaccessible by road. All right, and the situation in Indian state of Jharkhand is worsening due to continuous rain. Flood-like situation has arisen at many places. Incessant rain led to a surge in water levels of Harmu and Swan Rekha rivers. National Disaster Response Force teams have been deployed for rescue operations as rainwater has entered more than 100 houses in Kadru, Hinpiri and Deepatoli areas of Ranchi. The Weather Department has issued a yellow alert for very heavy rainfall and thunderstorms on Saturday for 7 districts of Jharkhand. Following the alert, the state government asked all deputy commissioners to take precautions and has closed all schools up to class 12th. An Indian Army, in close coordination with state rescue team and civil administration, is engaged in rescue operation in cloud-burst hit areas, North India's Himachal Pradesh. Additional teams and resources are mobilized and deployed for the search and rescue in the affected areas. NDRF and SDRF teams are coordinating the rescue of those who were stranded. Medical assistance is being provided to the affected villagers. The cloudburst was reported on the intervening night of July 31st and August 1st. Restoration works are underway in Rampur, where the cloud burst and following flash floods damaged a road that connected Rampur and Samej regions. Rescue and relief operations are underway in Uttarakhand's Kedarnath following Wednesday's heavy rainfall, which triggered landslides that severely damaged the walkway and left many people stranded. Superintendent of Police in Rudraprayag, Dr. Vishakha Ashok Badane, reported that many individuals who were stranded have now reconnected with their families and most have safely returned home. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Uttarakhand's Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami conducted a virtual review meeting with the District Magistrate and Senior Superintendent of Police of Rudraprayag. During the session, he assessed the ongoing disaster relief and rescue efforts and issued essential directives to ensure the operation's continued effectiveness and success. Incessant rains have brought daily life to a standstill in various parts of Maharashtra. In Sangli district of the state, heavy rains and discharge of water in the Koyna and Varna dam areas have increased the water level of Krishna river, causing the flood situation to continue in Kolhapur district as well. The rains have picked up again in the dam area as 3 automatic gates of Randhanagari dam are open. The level of Panchganga river has started to rise again. And in Pune, the discharge from Kharakwasla dam into Muta river basin has increased to over 21,000 cusecs this morning. On Saturday, India's Minister for External Affairs, Dr. S. Jaishankar, met with the leadership of the India-Japan Council in Delhi. In a post on the micro-blogging site X, Minister Jaishankar described the meeting as useful and praised their commitment to realizing the full potential of Indo-Japan relationship. India's Minister of Culture and Tourism, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, inaugurated the 7th edition of the India International Hospitality Expo in Greater Noida. The 4-day B2B event with over 1,000 exhibitors has Vietnam partnering with the IHE, while Himachal Pradesh is the focus state for promoting tourism destinations at the expo.
Tourism has all the potential which can drive the Indian economy to become a 3rd largest economy of the world. और ऐसे समय में इस तरह के विश्व स्तरीय आयोजन का किया जाना निश्चित ही अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण भी है, समय की और की आवश्यकता भी है, समय की मांग भी है.
Indian Air Force Wing Commander Shubhanshu Shukla has been selected as the prime astronaut for the upcoming Indo-US mission to the International Space Station. A National Mission Assignment Board has recommended 2 Gaganyatris as prime and backup mission pilot for this mission. These include Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla as the prime Gaganyatri and Group Captain Prasant Balakrishnan Nair as backup. The assigned crew members will be finally approved to fly to the International Space Station by the Multilateral Crew Operations Panel. The recommended Gaganyatris will commence their training for the mission from the first week of August. In a significant milestone, the Indian Coast Guard successfully conducted its maiden night landing of the ICG Dornier aircraft at Agatti Airport in the Lakshadweep Islands on Friday. This successful operation marks a remarkable enhancement in Indian Coast Guard's operational capabilities. The ability to conduct night landings will provide critical support to the local populace during natural disasters, medical evacuations and other emergencies, even during the darkest hours. Located approximately 460 kilometers west of southern India's Kochi in the Arabian Sea, Agatti features the only airstrip in the Union Territory of Lakshadweep. This achievement ensures the round-the-clock presence of ICG in the Lakshadweep archipelago, thereby strengthening the region's overall safety and security. And still to come on DD India News Hour. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin revokes a plea deal.
The judgment, which came with a majority, has ruled that states in the country have the power to subclassify scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
This is about poverty, this is about backwardness and empowering the people who are not so empowered. And the leaders are not very considerate about them, then the new leadership will come out from the people who are deprived, is still not getting benefit.
Every state has different castes and different tribes. So central has a state, however the creamy layer and non-creamy layer will differ from state to state.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked a plea deal that was agreed upon earlier this week with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the man accused of masterminding the 9/11 attacks, and 2 of his accomplices, according to a memorandum signed by Austin on Friday. The Pentagon had said on Wednesday the plea deals had been entered into but did not elaborate on details. A US official said they almost certainly involved guilty pleas in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. In a latest, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has removed the official who facilitated the plea deal for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, saying the responsibility for the decision should rest with him given its significance. The deal would have removed the possibility of death penalty. The U.S. military to deploy additional fighter jets and Navy warships to the West Asia as Washington seeks to bolster defenses following threats from Iran and its allies Hamas and Hezbollah. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had approved sending additional Navy cruisers and destroyers to the West Asia and Europe as well. The authorities have also confirmed to send additional squadron of fighter jets to the West Asia. The U.S. is bracing for Iran to make good on its vow to respond to the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh 2 days ago in Tehran. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has informed Israel about current and future changes to U.S. forces in the Middle East, the West Asia, in fact, and Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh told reporters after a call between United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant that move could include deploying additional forces to the region.
Secretary Austin spoke with Israeli Minister of Defense Gallant this morning about the destabilizing threats posed by Iran, its partners, and proxies. The secretary reiterated ironclad support for Israel's security and informed the minister of additional measures to include ongoing and future defensive force posture changes that the department will take to support the defense of Israel. Secretary Austin highlighted that further escalation is not inevitable and that all countries in the region would benefit from a de-escalation in tensions, including through completing a ceasefire and hostage release deal. He also stressed that the unprecedented scale of U.S. support for Israel since October 7th should leave Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah, and other Iranian-backed terrorist groups with no doubt about U.S. resolve.
And an Israeli airstrike in the occupied West Bank kills 5, including a Hamas commander on Saturday. The Israeli military claimed it had carried out an airstrike against a militant cell around the West Bank city of Tulkarm. A local media of Hamas said a vehicle carrying fighters had been struck and one of the commanders of Tulkarm brigades was killed. Hezbollah, like Hamas, is backed by Iran and has also vowed revenge. Israel and Hamas recently resumed tentative indirect talks to try to reach a ceasefire. An Israeli delegation is set to travel to Cairo in the coming days for negotiations to reach a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal, as per Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The negotiating team for a hostage deal will depart for Cairo on Saturday night or on Sunday. Terror group Hezbollah said that airstrike in southern Beirut on Tuesday crossed all of those red lines and effectively violated the unwritten rules of engagement. Hezbollah has vowed to respond over killing of its leader. And to give more information on this, DD India's Trent Murray joins us from Beirut. Hello, Trent. This is a very dangerous time in West Asia right now. In fact, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordered the USS Abraham Lincoln to replace the USS Theodore Roosevelt to West Asia. Putting in perspective all these things, what are the worst possible scenarios or lesser serious scenarios in next 2 to 3 days?
Well, look, I think what is happening from the Americans' perspective is that they are remembering what happened back in April, when you might recall Iran fired about 300 cruise and ballistic missiles as well as drones at Israel. Now, at that time, the US, the British and the French assisted the Israelis in shooting down those missiles before they could reach Israeli airspace. And so it would appear that all sides are now bracing for some sort of response from either Iran, some of its proxy groups, including Hezbollah here in Lebanon, or all of them all together. And so what they are doing is they're putting those military assets in place for a similar situation to what we saw in April. I think that is why you're seeing that US carrier strike group coming. We understand a fighter jet squadron is also being deployed, and the British Royal Air Force currently operating in Cyprus, which is just off the coast of Lebanon. So I think there's just a lot of waiting and watching right now, bracing for what might occur, but certainly the trend lines would suggest that we are on the cusp of quite a serious escalation. I should say the Wall Street Journal is reporting this hour that US officials believe Iran will respond by the end of this weekend.
Okay, now Trent, considering everything, how do you analyze ceasefire chances in this conflict?
Look, I think the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas are really significant because what Hezbollah and some of those other allied groups have always said publicly is that if there is a ceasefire in Gaza, then they themselves will stop their aggression. Effectively, they say that they're only firing rockets at Israel in support of the Palestinians. And so those talks taking place in Cairo are quite crucial. But we've been here before, haven't we, where both sides have said negotiations are underway and then it effectively all falls apart. What we do know is that there is this huge pressure right now. It feels like a pressure cooker, really, both on the Israelis from the US. We know the White House is very eager to get to a ceasefire, but at the same time, as you said in your introduction, for Hezbollah here in Lebanon, they feel that that strike here in Beirut really did cross a red line and they are vowing to respond. So again, waiting, watching to see what that response will be like. But right now, all sides are really bracing, I think, for this West Asia crisis to potentially spiral into something much bigger and much more dangerous.
All right, thank you so much, Trent, for that analysis. We'll keep taking updates from you as this is developing. US Vice President Kamala Harris has secured enough support to officially become the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. It makes Harris the first black woman and first Indian American to lead a major party into a general election. Nick Harper sends this report from Washington.
This virtual roll call was a chance for delegates who'd previously been pledged to Joe Biden to show their support to Kamala Harris, the new candidate for the Democratic Party, of course, since Joe Biden dropped out less than 2 weeks ago, saying he was not seeking re-election. This virtual roll call began on Thursday morning. It was meant to run all the way until Monday evening, and yet by the middle of Friday afternoon, it was clear that Harris had already secured enough support to officially become the nominee for the Democratic Party. A very quick period of time, much quicker than expected. The Democratic Party chairperson saying about that it was simply outstanding. Harris herself says that she is honoured to become the nominee for the President of the United States. Now, normally this would happen in person at the National Convention, a 4-day event that's taking place in Chicago in a few weeks' time, but the Democrats decided to hold this early and to do it in a virtual way. There were no challengers to Ms. Harris, so it was really considered inevitable that she would become a nominee, but of course fascinating that she did so quickly, and I think that perhaps shows the enthusiasm we've seen in the party since she said that she would be taking up that possibility of becoming the nominee after Joe Biden dropped out. She also makes history by becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party, becoming the first female of colour to top a ticket, but also the first Indian American to top a ticket as well. She could make history as well when we get to November the 5th, when the election takes place. She could become the first female president if she wins that election. All of this off the back of an incredible fundraising haul that she managed to bring in during the course of July, getting $310 million. That sets a record for grassroots funding in presidential history. It's also double the amount that her rival, Donald Trump, managed to pull in from supporters during the same month. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
After her nomination, US Vice President Kamala Harris posted on X and said that I am honored to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. I will officially accept the nomination next week. This campaign is about people coming together, fueled by love of country, to fight for the best of who we are. US Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has agreed with Fox News to debate with Democratic US Vice President Kamala Harris on September 4. Trump, in a post on social media platform Truth Social, has informed it. On the post, Trump said, as I quote, "If for any reason Kamala is unwilling or unable to debate on that date, I have agreed with Fox to do a major town hall on the same September 4th evening," unquote. And still to come on DD India News Hour. At least 3 people have reportedly been killed in Nigeria after protests turned violent.
Why has India been targeted persistently with negative and hostile coverage in the Western media? Why are Western media so hell-bent on trying to prevent and block India's rise as a major power? What can be done to fight back, and how can we establish a different information order in the world?
They condemn us, criticize us, our elections, our system, anything to do with India. Who are you to dictate and tell me if a person is elected, it's autocratic?
Oh, it's a threat to democracy.
Threat to democracy.
Yeah.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 32nd International Conference of Agricultural Economists, says India a food surplus country working to provide solutions for global food security. Vice President Kamala Harris formally secures Democratic presidential nomination for upcoming US election 2024. United States, to boost its military presence in West Asia, will deploy additional jets and Navy warships after threats from Iran and its allies Hamas and Hezbollah. At least 32 killed and 63 injured in Somalia beach attack. No immediate claim of responsibility by Islamist terrorist group Al-Shabaab. In sports, Indian shooter Manu Bhaker misses out on a historic third medal at Paris Olympics, finishes 4th in 25-meter pistol final. And in Somalia, at least 32 civilians were killed and 63 injured in an explosion on a popular beach in capital Mogadishu late on Friday evening. An attack blamed by Somali state media on the militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab. It was the deadliest attack in the Horn of Africa country since twin car bombs detonated near a busy market intersection in October 2022, killing at least 100 people and wounding 300 others. There was no immediate claim of responsibility by Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab, which has claimed similar attacks in the past, including the car bomb attack in 2022. In addition to the civilians killed, Aden said that one of the attackers had blown himself up while 3 others had been killed by security forces. One attacker was captured alive while 1 soldier was killed during the assault. State news agency had earlier said 5 Al-Shabaab attackers had been killed by security forces, while a 6th had blown himself up during the assault. At least 3 people have reportedly been killed in Nigeria after protests turned violent in the northern part of the country. In response, 3 states have declared a 24-hour curfew to curb further violence. Thousands took to streets on Thursday across the country, demanding better governance and an end to hunger, among other demands. DD India correspondent Ajak Mangut reports from Abuja, where police fired several rounds of tear gas to disperse demonstrators.
Protesters in Nigeria's capital Abuja say they are struggling to buy food due to the rising cost of living. They say they've had enough of what they see as bad governance and are demanding change.
The demands are very simple. Nigerians are suffering. What can the government do? And if the government cannot do anything, the government should step aside.
We are tired. We want them to understand that our voice must be heard. We are not slaves. We are not cowards. They should end hunger. They should end insecurity. They should end bad government. They should end poor health care.
Amid a heavy security presence, residents came out carrying placards, one reading, "End bad governance now." The protests have broken out after sharp rises this year in the cost of fuel, transportation, food and overall inflation.
Despite a last-minute attempt by the government to stop demonstrators from coming out, that has not discouraged these ones who have come out to air their grievances and their discontent about the economic hardship that they are currently going through.
Demonstrations had been restricted to the National Stadium by court order after the government raised concerns the protests could turn violent. Many people, however, defied this order and marched through the streets. Police fired tear gas to disperse the crowd when they attempted to get to the National Assembly. Meanwhile, the northern states of Borno, Kano and Yobe declared a 24-hour curfew to prevent the escalation of violence. Analysts say the government should be cautious in its response, comparing this moment to how former President Muhammadu Buhari responded to protests in 2020.
How you handle this can haunt you in the next election. The NSAS protest, how Buhari handled it, he never got away with it. People still believe that he mishandled that NSAS protest. So government needs to fix that issue of petroleum products affordability and accessibility, as well as fix the exchange rates that are seen to the high devaluation of Nigerian currency. But most importantly, let's reduce the size of government.
Nigeria's government has appealed for more time as it works to address economic challenges. Demonstrations are expected to continue for the next few days, but the police says it has put personnel on red alert to prevent further violence. Ajek Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
Updates now from South America's Venezuela. After opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez failed to present his voting tallies to Supreme Court of Justice, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro warned him of unavoidable consequences. TSJ on Thursday accepted a request by President Nicolas Maduro for all presidential candidates to present their voting tallies as the dispute about last weekend's election results drags on.
If he presents himself at the Supreme Tribunal of Justice and he doesn't present any records, there will be grave legal consequences. But if he goes to the tribunal and presents the mess, that is his webpage, that man Edmundo Gonzalez and the lawyers, political leaders and the political parties, UN, Un Nuevo Tiempo and the Mud Cardia that supports him, there will be unavoidable consequences.
Venezuela's neighboring countries like Brazil, Colombia and Mexico have pushed for President Nicolas Maduro to meet with the opposition candidate in last week's disputed election. The trio of Latin American countries want Maduro and Edmundo Gonzalez to meet without popular opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who spearheaded the Gonzalez campaign after being barred from holding office. Nations like United States and Argentina have already recognized Gonzalez as the election's winner, whereas Costa Rica, Ecuador, Panama and Uruguay also concluded on Friday that Gonzalez received the most votes. Well, Peruvian President Dina Boluarte on Friday has also accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of electoral fraud in relation to July 28th presidential elections. Boluarte condemned the process, putting special attention on the lack of transparency and the manipulation of the results.
Our strong stance against the electoral fraud in Venezuela is a clear example of our values. Peru, through its foreign ministry, has strongly condemned the Venezuelan electoral process, highlighting the lack of transparency and manipulation of the results.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke on Friday with Venezuelan opposition leaders Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado. In fact, Maria Corina Machado, I beg your pardon, after the South American nation's disputed presidential election. The State Department in a statement said U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken congratulated Gonzalez for receiving the most votes in Sunday's election and voiced concern for the safety of Gonzalez and Machado. Blinken on Thursday recognized Gonzalez as the winner of the vote. Well, in Bangladesh, quota protesters have declared a countrywide non-cooperation movement starting this Sunday following a recent surge in violence and to highlight their 9-point demand. The announcement was made by two coordinators of the anti-discrimination student movement through various social media platforms on Friday. The protesters also plan to stage demonstrations across the nation on Saturday. This new wave of activism comes after nearly 2 weeks of relative calm, which was disrupted, in fact, by violent clashes on Friday. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has ordered the release of all students detained in connection with the quota reform movement. She announced the decision during a meeting with leaders of the Professional Coordination Council at Ghana Baban in Dhaka on Saturday. This directive follows the announcement of nationwide non-cooperation movement starting Sunday and planned processions across the country on Saturday in protest against deadly attacks on protesters' rallies. The Newari community in Kathmandu Valley celebrates Gathe Mangal every year on 14th day of the waning moon in monsoon's Shravan month. This cultural heritage has been practiced in Kathmandu Valley since the Lichavi period. Here's the report from a special correspondent in Kathmandu.
On the 14th day of waning moon in Shravan month of Vikram Samvat, which falls in monsoon season, one can see people engaged in making demonic effigy from narkat grass, bamboo and neem leaves in every major crossroads of Kathmandu Valley. Member of every Newari household wears iron rings on the fingers on Ghate Mangal and insert 3-pin iron nails at the entrance of their houses. This ensures that evil spirits do not harm them, assuming evil spirits fear iron metal. People in various communities gather together to burn a straw effigy of a demon, Ghantakarna. People add a face to the puppet. The demon is put up at crossroads and burnt after sunset. The burning of an effigy symbolizes the burning of the demonic presence in the society.
Gatha Mangal. So the Newari people, local people who can celebrate this Gatha Mangal, they can use like nail. This can stuck in outdoor, and some people, mostly people, they use this for ring also, iron ring, to avoid from demons or something like that.
Like our culture in Newari, we have similar culture like Halloween. On this day, we take out all those evil spirit from our home, put it here and throw it away in the river.
Gatha Mangal is a male-dominant tradition where all rituals are done by men. Gatha Mangal ritual is carried out recognizing the existence of evil spirits in human society and warding them off. Shweta Singh for DD India, Kathmandu.
Vietnamese President To Lam was named to the nation's top position, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, replacing Nguyen Phu Trong, who died 2 weeks ago. Lam had already taken over the duties of party chief since July 18, a day before Trong's death, as his health was deteriorating. The nation does not formally have a paramount leader, but the head of the party effectively plays a more prominent role than others after late Trong strengthened the powers of the role during his 13-year tenure. All right, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The opening parade of the festivities for El Divino Salvador del Mundo, one of El Salvador's most significant religious and cultural celebrations, drew thousands of people to the streets of San Salvador. The event is held annually in honor of the country's patron saint, also known as the Divine Savior of the world. The parade showcased a vibrant display of the nation's rich cultural heritage and deep religious faith. American singer Justin Timberlake pleaded not guilty to a charge of driving while intoxicated after being arrested in June in New York after failing to obey a stop sign and veering off lane. That led to suspension of his driving license. The musician is currently in Europe on a world tour for his most recent album named Everything I Thought It Was. His next court hearing is scheduled for 9th of August. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Floods in China's Hunan leave 30 dead. A significant landslide hit Canada's British Columbia, blocking Chilcotin River. Indian archer Deepika Kumari advanced to the quarterfinals of individual women's archery to play her match in a short while.
This summer, the world turns its eyes to Paris, and DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory, and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama, and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis, and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
You're watching DD India News On. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Global weather updates now. 3 people have died as a result of intense flooding that hit central southern Chile. Heavy rains and strong winds have wreaked havoc across the country, swelling rivers, flooding homes, and knocking down trees and electricity poles in southern city. In fact, authorities rescue people from flooded homes and streets after rain fell in urban areas and 280 millimeters in rural areas. The rains and winds caused power and telephone outages as well as the closure of schools in the region, local media reported. Some areas have also witnessed power outage. Floods in China's Hunan leave 30 dead, dozens missing following Typhoon Gaemi. China's weather authority issued a blue alert for severe convective weather, a warning of heavy rainfall across parts of north and northeast China till Sunday. The department warned that northern and northeastern China are currently in a critical flood prevention period from late July to early August. The forecasted widespread and intense precipitation could lead to potential disasters such as floods and landslides. And a significant landslide hit Canada's British Columbia, blocking Chilcotin River near Farwell Canyon on Wednesday. The landslide poses an immediate risk of flash flooding. Evacuation orders are in place. The River Forecast Center has issued multiple advisories due to potential of water to go over the top of landslide dam. Authorities urge the public to avoid the area due to the high risk of unpredictable water flow. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for sport, and we'll give you all the updates from Paris Olympics. Indian shooter Manu Bhaker missed out on a medal after finishing 4th in the women's 25-meter pistol final at the Paris Olympics 2024. Manu lost the 3rd and 4th place elimination playoff to miss out on what would have been her 3rd medal of the ongoing Olympics in the French capital. But Manu Bhaker has already edged her place in Olympic history, clinching 2 bronze. At the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, her journey was marred by disappointment. Competing in 2 events, she failed to reach the finals in both. Critics doubted her and the young shooter faced immense scrutiny. But she didn't give up. Fast forward to Paris 2024 and Manu's story took a dramatic turn. This time she entered 3 events and made it to the finals in each one. Her determination paid off. She clinched 2 medals, making her first athlete in independent India to win 2 medals in a single edition of Olympic Games. Well, due to sudden rise in temperature in Paris and lack of cooling in rooms of Indian athletes in the Games Village, Indian Sports Ministry has provided 40 portable air conditioners to make their stay comfortable. The air conditioners were sent to the Games Village after discussions with the Indian Olympic Association and the French Embassy. Temperatures have soared in both Paris and Chartres, the 2 main Olympic Games venues. The cost of all ACs have been borne by the Sports Ministry of India. DD India correspondent Narayan Singh spoke to Indian archery coach Sanjeeva Singh, who's been a former Olympian, Arjuna and Dronacharya awardee. He spoke on the key improvements of Indian archers in the Olympics. Listen in.
Indian mixed archery team missed the medal by a whisker, but they created history by becoming first time an archery team booking their berth in the semi-finals and playing the bronze medal match. To talk more on this, I am joined by former Olympian Arjun Awadi and Dronacharya Awadi Sanjeevaji. Sir, a very warm welcome. But we missed the medal by a whisker, but a fantastic performance by Archer. So what was the key highlights of their match?
So if you look at the performance of the Indian team, that was good. And they maintained that performance. If you look at the qualification round, what happened? Men team stood third for the first time. Then women team stood fourth. Mixed team stood fifth. And then if you look at individual performance, Dheeraj was fourth. So we were expecting that based on the performance which they had done in the qualification round, they'll perform very well in the upcoming matches. Obviously, the team matches in the men and the women did not go as per expectations. They did not perform well. But then if you look at the individual performance, then Dheeraj improved. You saw his score against the Chris Peters of Canada. Wonderful performance. They went on to shoot 29-30, 30, then 10-10 in a tiebreaker, close to the center. He won. So it was bad luck for Dheeraj because Dheeraj was in such a good form. So things are improving. Performance is improving. Yes, we missed the medal, but we should not be disheartened because of that, because the government has done a lot. Let me tell you, we have been working, seen what the government is doing, whether it's the Ministry of Sports, whether it's the Sports Authority of India, whether it's the Association of India. They have worked on all the 5 pillars.
So what about this women's individual events? We can hope a medal from there.
So nobody can say for certain that you're going to win a medal. What is going to happen is your performance should improve. So I'm looking at Bhajan because she has been very steady in the team event also. She was the most steady girl. Therefore, if you look at she has been doing very well in the individual and the team. So I expect that she should perform very well. Deepika, you cannot say it because Deepika is one girl. She has the potential to win the gold also.
As there is a steady progress in the Indian archery, last time it was quarterfinals, this time our archers are in the semi-finals. So we are hoping that they will definitely go notch higher in coming days. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.
And DD India correspondent Narayan Singh spoke to Dheeraj Bommadevara, who finished at 4th position in the archery mixed team event at the Paris Olympics alongside Ankita Bakat. Take a look.
Indian archery team missed the medal by a whisker, but history has been created as first time Indian archery team reached the semi-finals. Dheeraj is with us. Dheeraj, congratulations. You missed the medal, but performance was exceptional. And last time we were in the quarterfinal, this time in the semi-finals. Overall, how you analyze this performance here in Paris?
जी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है हम लोग को कि हम अपने से इम्प्रूव हो रहा है पिछले कुछ ओलंपिक्स से एंड पिछले कुछ साल से हम आगे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, मेडल के करीब आते जा रहे हैं एंड एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग को बहुत दुखी भी लग रहा है कि एक कदम पीछे रह गए मेडल का.
लास्ट टाइम इट वाज क्वार्टर फाइनल, नाउ इन द सेमीफाइनल्स एंड even in the recurve also, if you talk about compound, continuous progress is there in the improvement is there. So what are the reasons you find behind this consistent performance and improvement in the Indian archery?
जी सबसे मेन इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग आता है कि सपोर्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट जो आर्चरी को इतना सपोर्ट कर रहा है जिसके वजह से हम लोग धीरे धीरे इम्प्रूव होते जा रहे हैं एंड ऑफ कोर्स इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट कि एक कदम पीछे रह गए हम लोग पर इधर तक आने के लिए भी जितना भी गवर्नमेंट साई टॉप्स एंड आर्चरी एसोसिएशन एंड आर्मी स्पोर्ट्स इंस्टीट्यूट का जो मेहनत था हम लोग को सपोर्ट करने का सारा टूर्नामेंट एक्सपोजर्स को भेजने का एंड फॉरेन ट्रेनिंग्स को भेजने का एंड हमारा सिर्फ एथलीट्स को ही नहीं कोचेस पे भी ध्यान देने का उनको सपोर्ट करके हम लोग को सिखाने का ये सारे चीज़ें बहुत ज़्यादा मैटर पड़ जाता है जब कोई भी गेम में इम्प्रूवमेंट लाने के लिए.
So definitely our archer are hoping that they will go notch higher and as he mentioned that Olympics is altogether a different ball game and next time Dheeraj will come up with flying colors. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.
The US Embassy in Dhaka has issued a security alert for US nationals residing in Bangladesh on Saturday. A statement issued in its official website, US Embassy in Dhaka said, and I quote, calls for protests, demonstrations, marches and gatherings continue to occur and can often materialize quickly. We are also aware of calls of a total non-cooperation movement beginning on Sunday, August 4. More protests are expected in the coming days. The statement also said that due to the unpredictable nature of the protests and the government response, US citizens should practice vigilance and avoid demonstrations and exercise caution in the vicinity of any large gatherings. Well, Indian Business and Professional Council organized a session, Green Minds, Circularity, sustainability and net zero in the UAE. As a chief guest at the event, Indian Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment Ramdas Athawale lauded the United Arab Emirates' sustainability efforts. Minister Athawale emphasized the growing cooperation between India and the UAE in environmental initiatives. He highlighted the UAE's ambitious target of renewable energy and praised projects such as Masghdar City, Dubai Metro, and various eco-friendly community developments. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.